Today let us know about 10 most notorious criminals and their IQ. We will also know how clever they are in escaping and committing crimes. In this story you will be shocked to know their IQ and the crimes they have committed. Without wasting time, let's get into facts. Did you know, an average person holds an IQ between 95 to 105? In a survey it was found that criminals tend to have an IQ of 94.5. This proves that criminals are slightly less intelligent than the average person of the society. But these 10 criminals' IQ and their stories are totally different and disturbing. Now let's begin the story. Number 10, John Christie. John Christie was a serial killer and a necrophile who has an IQ of 128. A necrophile is referred to a person who is sexually attracted to corpses or dead bodies. And Christie was born in Halifax, United Kingdom. He was accused of killing 8 women, 1 baby and an innocent man, including his wife. He started killing in 1943, and he continued doing that for next 10 years. His RST victim was a prostitute. He strangled her during sex, and she died. He used to kill people by strangling and poisoning them during sex and bury their bodies next to the other victims. He used his intelligence to masterfully bury the bodies of his victims in the garden and walls of his home and even under wood. And he is also found to keep his victims' pubic hairs as a trophy. Before committing such crime, he used to lure the victims by offering help, and then he used to commit for such horrible things. Christie was thought to suffer from impotence or erectile dysfunction with anyone besides prostitutes. Number 9, Ted Bundy. Theodore Robert Bundy, or Ted Bundy, was an American serial killer who kidnapped, raped, and murdered numerous young women and girls during the 1970s, and even he is a necrophiliac. He has an IQ of 136. Ted was born in Burlington, Vermont, United States of America. Before his execution he committed that he killed 30 people. But OSILs say that the total number of victims are unconfirmed. The 30 victims were all women and young girls. Bundy was blessed with handsome and charismatic traits that he used them against women and society to win their trusts. He would typically approach his victims in public places, pretend to be injured or disability, or even he used to impersonate himself like police or cop, and sometimes he used to impersonate as other characters to win their trusts. Then he used to knock them unconscious and take them to secluded or quiet locations to rape and strangle them to death. Then sometimes again he used to revisit his crime scenes and perform sexual acts with the decomposing dead bodies until putrefaction and destruction of dead bodies by wild animals made any further interactions impossible. He decapitated or beheaded at least 12 victims and kept some of the severed heads as mementos in his apartment. His violence and intelligence gave him a spot on the FBI's most wanted list, and he managed to escape more than once. Later on, Bundy was executed in the electric chair at Florida State Prison in Ryford, Florida on January 24, 1989. Number 8, Lawrence Bittaker. Lawrence Bittaker was known as Toolbox Killer. He was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He had an impressive IQ of 138, which he used that to capture, rape, torture teenage girls, and at last kill them. Lawrence had another crime partner named Roy Norris. When he joined with him, things got really strange. They bought a van and named it as Murder Mac. They used to torture the victims with wire hangers and pliers. And an audio recording was found where they were hammering the victim's elbow. Once they even left a body in random person's lawn. They have killed 5 teenage girls in the period of 5 months. They were only found out when Norris was picked up on minor drug offenses. John Douglas, the FBI agent on the case, described Bittaker as the most disturbing person he'd ever paroled. Number 7, Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer is an American serial killer, sex offender and a necrophile, and also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal. A cannibal is referred to a person who consumes humans as their food. He had an IQ of 144. He was born in West Allis, Wisconsin, United States of America. He killed nearly 17 men and boys from 1978 to 1991. He would pick up men, mostly at gay bars, and take them home before drugging. Then he strangles them to death and have sex with the dead body or corpses. After having sex with the dead body, he would mercilessly dismember or cut off their limbs. Then he would also keep their body parts, even the genitals. He would even take the photographs of the dead body. As time went on, he got involved in cannibalism, lobotomies, and chemical disposal of bodies. One day he was eventually caught by cops when Tracy Edwards, a man who was wandering around with handcuffs on his wrists, was found by the police, said that Dahmer had drugged him. Later Dahmer was sentenced to life imprisonment. Number 6, Edmund Kemper. Edmund Emil Kemper, he was an American serial killer and necrophile. He murdered 10 people, including his paternal grandparents and mother. He was born in Burbank, California. He has an IQ of 145. He was powerful both mentally and physically. He is also known as the natural-born killer and the co-ed killer. Most of his victims were female students at co-educational institutions. He even targeted young female hitchhikers during his killing spree, luring them into his vehicle and driving them to secluded areas where he would murder them before taking their corpses back to his home. Later the dead bodies' heads and limbs were cut off and violated. In a true evil genius move, it is believed that he kept the heads of some of his victims for days before disposing them. He managed to evade law enforcement for 9 years. Later he was caught by cops and he actually turned himself in and requested the death penalty. He didn't get it, but was given 8 life sentences. Number 5, Andrew Cunanan. Andrew Philip Cunanan was an American serial killer known to have murdered people during a 3-month period in mid-1997. He is known for killing a famous fashion designer Gianni Versace. And Gianni Versace is the founder of the popular brand Versace. Cunanan's other name was Andrew De Silva, and he has an amazing IQ of 147. He is known to be a bright student who can speak up to 7 languages. He was born in National City, California. From a young age, the gay socialite, Cunanan had an obsession with violent sex. He even prostituted himself during his teenage. His RST victim was his former lover Jeff Trail. The FBI could not catch Cunanan because he used his intelligence to ant them. He used to even appear back on the gay social scene after his murders. However, after the death of Versace, 8 days later Cunanan killed himself by the time his age was 27. Number 4, Carroll Cole. Carroll Edward Cole, he was an American serial killer who committed crimes between 1948 and 1980. His victims were all women. He killed at least 15 women and a boy by strangling. He was born in Sioux City, Iowa, United States. Carroll has an IQ of 152. However, he was a poor student. As a child, he was forced to watch his mother have sex with other men while his father was away. To keep him from telling his dad, his mother would threaten to beat him. This caused him to deal with a great pain. And he created hate against women in his life. His first murder was drowning his friend in water at the age of 10. And nobody realized it was a murder at the time. He went on to have fantasies of murdering women, and those fantasies turned into a reality. He used pick-up women in bars and kill them. He used to specifically target women who he believed to be loose or adulterers, just like his mother. He was twice caught by the police in the middle of violent acts, but, like any other true genius, managed to talk his way out of them. Later on, he was executed by lethal injections in Nevada State Prison. Shortly before his execution he told an interviewer that, "I just messed up my life so bad that I just don't care to go on." Number 3, Charlene Gallego. Charlene Gallego and Gerald Gallego are 2 American serial killers and pedophiles who terrorized Sacramento, California between 1978 to 1980. And pedophile is a person who is sexually attracted to children. Charlene Gallego, who was a violin prodigy, has an IQ of 160. The couple kidnapped 10 people, some as young as 13 and mostly female, who they raped and kept as sex slaves before eventually killing them. Most of them were teenagers. Some believe that Charlene was the mastermind behind the couple's reign of terror. Later, the couple were caught by police, and Charlene made a genius move. She agreed to testify against her husband, so she only received a sentence of 17 years. She was released in 1997, while her husband was sentenced to death. But her husband died of cancer before his death sentence could be carried out. Number 2, Ted Kaczynski. Theodore John Kaczynski or Ted Kaczynski, who was also known as Unabomber, is an American domestic terrorist, anarchist and former mathematics professor. He has an IQ of 167, which is equal to Einstein's IQ. He is known as mathematics prodigy, but he abandoned his academic career in 1969 to pursue more primitive lifestyle. He was born in Evergreen Park, Illinois, United States of America. He done his education in Harvard University at the age of 16 and completed his PhD in University of Michigan. Between 1978 and 1995, he killed 3 people and injured 23 others in an attempt to start a revolution by conducting a nationwide bombing campaign targeting people who were involved with modern technology. He mailed bombs mostly to the professors, in which 3 were died and 23 injured. He would leave messages encrypted with mathematical codes that not even the FBI could crack. He showed his intelligence in escaping for 17 years without being caught. One day, he released a manifesto where his handwriting was recognized by his brother and sister-in-law, then soon they approached FBI. The term Unabomber stands for University and Airline Bomber. And yeah, if you have forgot to subscribe my channel, go subscribe my channel for more such interesting content. Number 1. Rodney Alcala. Rodney James Alcala, who is also known as the dating game serial killer. He's the smartest serial killer ever known, with an estimated IQ of 170. And he is an American convicted rapist and serial killer who was sentenced to death in California for murders committed in that state between 1977 and 1979. He was born in San Antonio, Texas. He is such cold-blooded murderer that, in middle of his many murders, he even took part in the famous TV show called The Dating Game. And he even won the date. The investigators found 1,000 photos that he took during the crime. Some estimates guess that he had around 50 victims, but he was only found guilty of murders. On his murder of 4 women, he used his IQ to completely evade from the law, but DNA evidence narrowly nailed him for his crime. And it is known that one victim was beaten to death with a claw hammer, and, in a true evil genius move, others were strangled and resuscitated or revived over and over again, just to torture them again. Prosecutor Matt Murphy told the court that he has committed unspeakable acts of horror. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, please do subscribe, like and share for more such interesting content.
All the shadows of the past that I'm so leaving, they held me in my sleepless nights, and I'm running in the noise like a free fall.